All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Limina Devlog number 4. Um, this one is kind of late. It took me a long time to be able to come up with what I need to be sharing here. Just because so much of it has been mapping. So, uh, in case you didn't know, um, from last devlog, we changed the name from Limbox to Limina. And I want to kind of go over like what exactly has changed and like some of the fundamentals that are going to be different with the game. So first of all, it's no longer a multiplayer title right now. In the current development cycle that I have, or the phase, however you want to say it, it is built on multiplayer ideals, but I'm currently making it single player. I kind of want to get right the well, let's just say I'm reducing the scope of the game by making it single player because I want to focus on more of the experience rather than uh the gameplay aspects. So that means the maps, the little lore bits that you're going to see throughout the game, and et cetera, with that type of thing. So it's less about and now it's more or less about playing with your friends and now playing with a game that gives you an experience, right? So it's a completely different thing, but in the meantime, for when I'm developing this, I'm going to be having it be single player for now. I I did build the game on a fundamental multiplayer platform. So behind the scenes, I'm using Walker. You already know this, but essentially, what Walker does when you start a game and it's multiplayer, it starts a lobby for you. And what I basically did this time is all I did was tweak the values so that you now, when you start the game, it starts a lobby that is single player, that is maximum one player, and is private. So you won't be able to see it, you won't be able to join, and essentially that's it. You won't be able to play with other people. But I built it on the basics I built for the game is there. So in the future, if I wanted to make it multiplayer, I could go through the actions of doing so. And I think that's really important distinction currently for what we have here. So let's go ahead and play it. As you can see, the main menu is different. You can see like the different boxes and stuff. I have a decal here that's kind of like showcasing it. Um, in the future, I'm probably going to be doing something a little bit more with the menu. This menu still isn't up to par for what I want to be a main menu experience of the game. I want to add things that can make it more lively, more interactive, and basically allow you to do more things. I'm kind of getting the impression in the future that I kind of want to make it like a Black Ops 1 main menu thing, where if you are in the main menu, you can play the game, essentially. You can do things that break you out of the main menu and you start walking by yourself wherever you want. I think that's really important. I may add something like that where in Black Ops 1 you could break out of the chair and then you could walk around and there's other things to interact with in the menu scene or the main menu area, essentially. And that's kind of what I want to do here. That's why I kind of have like this premise of just being in the area and having like this 3D environment that's rendered and then being able to click on that. So if we play this now, you get the same logo. Okay, we can skip that. And then we have the buttons here, obviously, and then we have the decal. We have a camera motion in the background that kind of simulates a person looking in this direction. Um, but this time it's a little bit different. We're going to play a game. We're going to do a new game, and you can see what it is. Okay, so here's our basic little intro into the first scene of the game. So right now you can kind of see we loaded in with a little bit of like some lore bits and and a just like a short little transition to come in. I may want to expand on the intro more as I build the map, but in the meantime, I'm kind of having it so that you can get the feel that you've transitioned to a new area or to into the game. And it also gives you a premise on like why you're here in the first place. And I'm gonna make it so that there's more lore bits throughout this that can kind of explain the area you're in. So I want to do a little bit more environmental storytelling rather than just giving you a UI at the very beginning of the game that tells you everything. I don't think that's intuitive. So I'm gonna showcase like the next little feature. I'm gonna have this little guy guide me there, point me in the right direction. Where are we going, little guy? This way? Leading me on? You know where you're going. Alright, he looks like he's going this way. So, light guide at the very beginning, giving us some really good vibes. You know, showing us where the cool stuff is. So here we are. We're in this little area right here. Got a special blinking light. Something important to note here is the lights are different now. So what I kind of wanted to portray with the lights is that there are areas, or not areas, they're in with the lighting. I kind of want it to be semi-realistic. So as you can see, there's like a little bit of refraction with the lamp or with the lights, and I kind of like that. It allows you to see from an angle the lens of the light. So yeah, that's a thing. We can still see that there's object manipulation. You can zoom in and out. You can rotate. You know, cool little Maxwell giving us that demonstration. Then we have a pickups. So I added pickups to the game. So when you pick up something from the game, press E on it, you will now see a little thing in your inventory saying flashlight. You can click on it and you can turn it on and off just like you can the regular flashlight. So I added that to the game, and I wanted to make clear that this little bit right here, this thing, the little weapon, that is not in the game for you. It's in the game for me as like a developer because I'm developing view models. So I kind of want to add a little bit more to the game by adding view models that are interesting. So every FPS game has a view model of your character doing something in the game, and whether that be holding a flashlight, whether that be picking something up, if that is moving something. I kind of want to make it a thing where I can have view models that reflect the actions of the player. This is obviously more down the line as I continue iterating on, this is after like all the maps and stuff are done, but I just want to kind of like give my thoughts about like how I want the future to kind of look like. Even though it's changed, right? Because since I made it single player and stuff like that, it doesn't change from the fact that I want to make it an experience. So yeah, we have that. So we're here, right? And there's more than just this confusing area of maze. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of explore a little bit. We're going to do what the game is meant to be, and we are going to explore in a direction. Most people are going to do this, right? They're going to be like, okay, well, this whole area is big, so what if I just go to the edge and I find where I need to go? So we're going to do that. We're going to find where, again, this is what I kind of know players will do, is when they're in a big area like this, they know there has to be an exit. And if there is an exit, they will find it through the edges of the map. And so I kind of want to keep it in perspective here that when we're coming across these maps, there will always be like a exploration aspect to it. Like if you want to find a new area, you got to like go around and you got to like try to find where you need to go next. But there's also some areas in the game that I also don't want to be completely in the dark. So I may have areas where you'll have and here we are. Here's a new area. It took a little bit to find it, but here we are. It's still really dark. A common criticism that I'm getting is that this is not supposed to be a dark thing. I digress from that argument to say that this is a way of interpreting what the backrooms is. Okay, it could be very bright, or it could be very dark. There's actually a lore reason to why the backrooms is dark, at least for the character. So I kind of wanted to emphasize that here, where just because it's dark doesn't mean it's always going to be dark. But at the same time, I'm using it as a way to portray an environment. Because everybody can say, well, oh, the backrooms is supposed to be really bright, it's supposed to just be infinite, and, it's very, very big. In my case, it's not that. It's a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit more dingy. It's going to be a little bit more darker, and it's going to have things that make sense and then things that don't. It's not going to be procedurally. It's not procedural generation in the game sense, because it can be pretty simple to make a bunch of different layouts that can be procedurally generated, right? In some ways, it makes sense. But anyways, moving on from that, here we are with our little dark area of the map. So what I'm doing now is I'm just kind of going around and finding where I need to go next. And the process of being able to make something like a map like this takes a lot of work and time, mainly for the fact that it's not hard to put in the aspects of it, but rather the creative effort needed to make a design work. So I actually seen an oversight before I did this. So let me go ahead and go here, and I'm going to clear us away real quick. There we go. Boom, now we're in this area. So look, small little oversight. I added a blockage to these areas so you couldn't go into the next one. But you notice there's no lights in here. That's not intentional. I will be adding lights depending on how it is. I may add dark sections, who knows? But in general, there will be lights in the whole area. It won't be completely lit. It won't be like super lit, like what you normally see from regular backrooms games. So this one's going to be a little bit different in that regard, but you're going to see a lot of this type of stuff. Okay, a little bit of weirdness happening there. I put this in pretty recent, so it's not what I want it to be, but there'll be like little details like this, like that can kind of like show the weird nature of like, oh wait, somebody was here, they noticed this thing, they checked it out, they experimented with it, they deemed it not good somehow, like this is like a thing that's not ideal, and they just walked away. And so I'm going to be adding a lot more little details like that to the game, and I think it makes it pretty interesting on like how the backrooms operate as a liminal transitional space. And so I kind of want to take advantage of that by just going around with the map and placing like these little random things that could be arbitrary, that could be meaningful, and is up for you to decide whether it is either abstract or it has a purpose in the map. So, for example, we'll have a like that chair, for example. Like what if there was something that we had to put the chair in, or something we had to move the chair to be able to get up on top of something else, like very, very obscure uses for details in the map. I kind of want to add a little bit of that. They're not puzzles. I will say that. So just because they're obscure doesn't make them not useless, and they aren't puzzles. But again, a lot of this time that I've been doing has been due to creative iteration, is what I like to call it. It just takes me a while to be able to put out an idea like this. And I think anybody can kind of like go along with me when it comes to mapping. People can work faster than others, but I think the most important thing is being able to iterate on your work faster and faster. The more experience you have. I'm not that experienced at mapping. I'm actually pretty beginner-ish in terms of raw level design. So this is like new territory for me that's taking me a long time to get a hang of. Not really the tools though. The tools are not what are hard to use. The tools just get me the means to continue with the work, right? But in terms of the workflow and the churn from putting out level design, I'm still very new. So it takes me a long time to get a valid iteration in a reasonable amount of time. Like for example, it can take me, this section probably took me on a total of maybe 8 hours or more. 8 hours or more, probably 16. Of just pure sitting down, making the area, mapping it out, figuring out that's actually not what I want, and then mapping it again, figuring out it's not what I want, and then try over and over and over again until I get what I want. Or I build on top of what I've made and try to iterate on that. So it's been a lot of like back and forth creatively with my ideas. If anybody is a mapper and they want to get a portion of the play fund and they want to make maps for this game, please let me know. Okay? I would love it if you were to come on and get a portion of the play fund, be a part of Filaments, and map for me, because this has been like one of the hardest things for me to like go. Like yes, I can make controllers, I can do some of the programming, right? But when it comes to like actual map design and figuring out the meat and potatoes of what I want with an exploration game, not only is it a hurdle I have to actually get through, but it's also very tedious for me and you, because it's gonna take me a long time to be able to actually put out something you guys would probably want, and then go through the critique and then do it all over again as a level design. So if I have a mapper doing it for me, it takes a little bit, better approaches from that. But there is some merit in being able to do this all by yourself. So depending on how I want to do it, I may or may not have a mapper. But if you are a mapper, reach out, please. I'd love to add you to the play fund if you want to make maps for this game. The ideas are simple enough. So right now we're just kind of like running through. I'm just kind of showing you what is changed. It's a huge area, kind of. You notice how we went from like these really tight spaces, mazy areas, to now we're on like this really open area, and we really don't know where we are right now. As I add more lights to the level, you'll see this kind of like, you'll see this open way up. Like you can see everything. Right now there's no lights. I'm going to be adding lights, but in general, that's kind of like what I'm going for. One thing I also want to add is level persistence. So what level persistence means to me is when you save the game, exit and save, and we start the game again, and we load the game, it'll load me in an area, the same area that I was in. However, it loads the map as it was. It loads the map as it was portrayed. So the items that were in the map are reset every single time you load the scene. So even though the save saves your your position and your current weapons or inventory, it does not save world permanence. So, world persistence. Sorry, world persistence. So a lot of the items that you move or things that you have done in the game are currently not being saved. So what's the point of experience that you have to go through and play it again so that it's seamless? So what I'm going to be doing in the near future is making it so that there's world persistence. And depending on what you do in the world, it will also affect how the future levels can be explored. So there will be cross level deterministics for what will be in the map. I think that's kind of cool. I don't see a lot of people doing that for backroom stuff, so I think it's going to be kind of cool. But at the expense, it is no longer multiplayer. Um, I just do want to really focus on the experience aspect of the game, the graphics of the semi-realism areas, you know, um, really working with that. So if we look here, we go to our player. Our player is pretty special in two ways. One, he's obviously using the regular citizen model related area, but he's also specifically picked out to look like this, right? For lore reasons. There'll be instances where you can see your own reflection in things, and that's something I want to add soon. There are ways to do it, but it's kind of scuffed, and I'm thinking about ways to make that better. Um, Again, not a crazy amount of changes. Um, it's just been a lot of tedious iteration over and over and over again. Um, but yeah, let me know. Let me know what you guys want to see in the maps. Let me know if you have any ideas. If you guys want to work on the project, you guys can join my Discord, and just go from there. Well, thank you for being here and watching. If you're still here, like and subscribe. I guess I don't know. And you can always find me in the Sandbox Discord. I'm always around. Um, you can say hi once in a while. That's fine too. Uh, and you can play Limina on Sandbox. I'm going to be uploading this change here pretty soon, so you'll be able to play the game in its unfinished state, with the new map changes and etc. etc. Um, I am planning to continue iterating on the map. Once the map is done, I'll be able to get on making more um things that I need to refine on, like especially the world persistence. The world persistence is really important, because it can be game breaking depending on how you put it. So there's like certain things I want to do for that. But in general, thanks guys. I appreciate you watching, and peace out.